What's up, everyone? Welcome to the July 13th edition of DraftKings Tournament Plays presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ChipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, use the code AWESOMO when you sign up and make a deposit at Prize Picks. You'll receive one free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum. You'll also receive a 100% deposit bonus up to $100 on your first deposit. We have a 9-game MLB slate tonight. As usual, we're going to take a look at 3 of the top tournament stacks and 3 of the top tournament pitchers on DraftKings using the top stacks tool and the top pitchers tool on the stokastic.com website. Starting with the top 3 stacks, number 3, the Chicago White Sox are taking on Aaron Savali tonight in Cleveland. The White Sox are projected for 3% ownership with a 6% chance of being the top scoring stack. They have only a 4 implied run total, but Savali is a middle of the road pitcher, 21.7% strikeout percentage this year, 4.09 xFIP. He does give up some power, though, allowing 1.36 home runs per 9. And while the White Sox active roster has a 98 WRC plus and only a 124 ISO, the name value carries a bit more weight than that. We have plenty of guys in the Chicago lineup that do have proven major league track records as good hitters, and they're not getting much ownership tonight against Savali. Number 2, the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on Adam Wainwright tonight in St. Louis. Relatively difficult matchup as Wainwright is still a good overall pitcher. He has a 3.77 xFIP this year. He has only struck out 19.5% of hitters. The Dodgers have a 4.4 implied run total. But the Dodgers also have the second highest WRC plus in baseball at 119. They have a 180 ISO on their active roster, and they're only projected for about 6% ownership with a 9% chance of being the top scoring stack. Most of the reason that they're not getting more ownership, despite a relatively short 9-game slate, is that you do have the Padres in Coors Field pulling a bunch of ownership. You also have the Yankees pulling ownership against Mike Minor. That leaves only so much ownership to go around, and as a result, we have the Dodgers projected to be a bit underowned. And number 1, the San Diego Padres taking on Chad Kuhl tonight in Coors Field. This is a really tricky spot, and we've seen this on a lot of slates recently in Coors Field as DraftKings has just completely given up on adjusting their pricing to where hitters are playing. The Padres have a 22% chance of being the top scoring stack. They are projected for 34% aggregate ownership, but they also have a 33% chance of being the top value stack because top to bottom, this team is underpriced. With there only being 9 games as opposed to 13 or 14 tonight, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, I think, to get away from these guys, but you still certainly want to pay attention to how you mix them into lineups, whether it's full stacking and using lower owned pitchers, whether it's using 2-mans and 3-mans to offset or to increase your projection on low projected but also low owned lineups. Those are both solid approaches, but given the value on San Diego and the spots that a lot of other teams are in on the slate, they do still project as one of the top stacks, even in tournaments. They're going up against Kuhl, who has only struck out 16.9% of hitters with a 4.71 xFIP so far this season. Now, before we get to the top 3 pitchers, we do have a new promo code in addition to the Prize Picks one. Use the promo code ADAMMLB at the top. It's listed at the top of the screen. You'll receive 50% off any weekly Stokastic Plus package. This is available for new users only, but if you haven't already signed up for Stokastic Plus, use this promo code, get yourself 50% off any weekly package. You'll get access to behind the paywall data, including the top stacks tool and the top pitchers tool that I'm referencing in this video. So again, just use the promo code at the top of the screen, ADAMMLB, and get 50% off any Stokastic Plus weekly package. Now to take a look at the top 3 pitchers, number 3, Lucas Giolito is only projected for 5% ownership right now with a 12% chance of being a top 2 pitcher and an 11% chance of being a top 2 value pitcher. He's $7,900, which on the surface is just too cheap of a price tag for Giolito. He enters this game with a 27.6% strikeout percentage and a 3.62 xFIP. The reason he's not getting more ownership is simply that there are a lot of other good pitchers on this slate. Some of them are in better spots than Giolito, and pricing isn't very sharp on the pitchers. So you can get guys that are even better than Giolito for not that much more money. Or you also have John Gray in the same price range as Giolito and a much better matchup against the Athletics. But as a result, only 5% ownership here. The Guardians are a difficult team to strike out, only an 18% strikeout percentage on their active roster to go along with a 101 WRC plus. But as of right now, Giolito is projected to be a bit underowned compared to his chances of being a top 2 pitcher. Number 2, Christian Javier is pulling 15% ownership with a 17% chance of being a top 2 pitcher. He's taking on the Los Angeles Angels tonight in Anaheim. The Angels have been batting Mike Stefanik at the top of their order. He is difficult to strike out. And then after him, you have Otani, Trout, and Ward in some order. But once you get past those guys, there's still a lot of below average hitters and a lot of strikeouts to be had in this lineup. Overall, this roster has a 27.7% strikeout percentage, a 103 WRC plus, and in his starts this season, Javier has struck out 32.9% of hitters with a 3.8 xFIP. And number one, Shane McClanahan, taking on the Boston Red Sox tonight in Tropicana Field. He's projected for a lot of ownership at 42%, but he also has a 30% chance of being a top two pitcher and a 12% chance of being a top two value at $10,000. McClanahan has been lights out this year with a 36% strikeout percentage and a 1.98 xFIP. The Red Sox active roster does have a 113 WRC plus and a 21.6% strikeout percentage, but a lot of that is driven by the middle of this order. It's not necessarily a team that you look at and you're scared of every hitter top to bottom. It's more so that Devers, JD Martinez, Xander Bogaerts are all really good. The bottom of the order, Christian Arroyo, Bobby Dahlbeck, Jeter Downs, not quite as scary. And regardless, this is a good pitcher's park and an excellent pitcher in McClanahan. So to recap, the top three tournament stacks: number three, the Chicago White Sox; number two, the Los Angeles Dodgers; number one, the San Diego Padres; and the top three tournament pitchers: number three, Lucas Giolito; number two, Christian Javier; and number one, Shane McClanahan.